Imagine standing on the edge of a tub filled with ice-cold water, or looking through the glass of a sauna where the air is thick with 200-degree heat. For most of human history, these were conditions we tried to escape. But today, people are paying for the privilege of putting their bodies through this. It's the biohacking explosion. Cold plunges, infrared saunas, and the obsession with heart rate variability. But here's the million-dollar question. Are we actually recovering, or are we just adding more weight to an already heavy physiological backpack?
It's a fascinating paradox, isn't it? We've entered this era where we seek out discomfort to find health. To answer your question, it's actually both. These practices aren't recovery in the way a nap or a massage is. They are stressors, pure and simple, but they fall under a biological principle called hormesis. Think of it like a vaccine for stress. You're giving the body a tiny, controlled dose of threat to teach it how to be more resilient. If the dose is right, you level up. If it's wrong, you're just digging a deeper hole for your nervous system.
So it's like a biological, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger scenario? I love that idea of hormesis, but I think most people see a cold plunge and think it's just a way to numb the pain after a workout. When you actually step into that ice, your heart rate doesn't drop. It screams. What is actually happening under the hood in those first 60 seconds?
Oh, it's a total system shock. Your body thinks it's in a survival crisis. The sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight mode, goes into overdrive. You get a massive spike in norepinephrine and adrenaline. Your blood vessels constrict to keep your core warm. It's intense. But the magic happens in the afterburn. Once you get out and stabilize, your brain realizes the threat has passed. That's when the calm hits. You've essentially manually rebooted your nervous system, and that mental clarity people rave about is the result of the body coming back into balance after a successful adaptation.
It's almost like a mental workout as much as a physical one. You're training your brain to stay cool while your body is literally freezing. But then we have the opposite end of the spectrum, the sauna. People usually associate heat with relaxation, candles, quiet, sweating it out. But you mentioned that heat is also a stressor. How can something that feels so relaxing be taxing the body?
It's deceptive because of the environment, but physiologically, your heart is working just as hard in a hot sauna as it might be on a brisk walk. Your internal cooling system, sweating and dilating blood vessels, is a high-energy process. Studies show that frequent sauna use is linked to incredible cardiovascular benefits and even lower mortality rates. But it's not because you're resting. It's because you're giving your heart a workout without moving a muscle. You're stressing the cardiovascular system in a way that forces it to become more efficient at thermoregulation.
That brings us to the data side of things, which is where it gets really tricky. Everyone is wearing these rings and watches now, tracking their HRV, heart rate variability. I've seen people get out of a cold plunge, check their scores, and get frustrated because their HRV dropped or their stress levels spiked. Isn't that counterintuitive if the goal is recovery?
That is the biggest misconception in the wearable space right now. People look at a single data point in isolation and panic. If you measure your HRV immediately after an ice bath, it should be low. Why? Because you just jumped into ice. Your body is currently handling a stressor. The real health intelligence isn't about what the number is during the plunge. It's about how quickly your HRV rebounds and whether your baseline improves over weeks and months. We have to stop looking at these tools as magic wands and start seeing them as signals.
That's a powerful distinction. It's the difference between tracking and interpreting. I wonder if we've reached a point of stress overload. If I do a high-intensity interval workout, then fast for 16 hours, then jump in an ice bath, and then sit in a sauna, am I a biohacking god? Or am I just redlining my engine until it explodes?
You're likely redlining. This is where the more is better mentality fails us. Biology isn't linear, it's U-shaped. There is a Goldilocks zone for stress. If you're a high-level athlete with perfect sleep and nutrition, you can handle more of these hormetic stresses. But if you're a stressed-out executive who slept 4 hours and drank 5 cups of coffee, an ice bath might be the thing that finally pushes your nervous system into chronic exhaustion. We often try to biohack our way out of poor lifestyle choices, but you can't cold plunge your way out of a chronic sleep deficit.
It sounds like the recovery isn't in the water or the steam, it's in the space between the sessions. It's almost philosophical. We're using these ancient elements, extreme heat, and extreme cold to find a balance in a modern world that is constantly lukewarm and sedentary. We've lost that natural variability in our lives, haven't we?
Exactly. Our ancestors dealt with temperature swings and physical exertion every day. Our modern environment is climate-controlled and comfortable, which has actually made our nervous systems lazy and fragile. By reintroducing these controlled stressors, we're essentially reminding our bodies how to be human. We're teaching our autonomic nervous system how to toggle between high alert and deep rest more fluidly.
So if I'm looking at the future of this, it's not about finding a one-size-fits-all protocol, like 3 minutes of cold, 20 minutes of heat. It's about personalization. It's about knowing that my body's response to a sauna today might be totally different from my response next Tuesday depending on my workload or even my mood.
Spot on. That's the shift from generic wellness to true health intelligence. Two people can sit in the same sauna for the same amount of time, and for one person, it's a life-extending cardiovascular stimulus, while for the other, it's an unnecessary strain. The future is using technology to understand your unique stress capacity in real time. We need to stop asking, "Is this good for me?" and start asking, "Is this good for me right now?"
It's a shift from being a passive consumer of health trends to being an active pilot of your own biology. I think that's the real takeaway here. These tools, the plunges, the saunas, the wearables, they aren't the destination. They are the dashboard and the fuel.
Perfectly said. The goal isn't to see how much cold you can stand. The goal is to see how quickly you can return to a state of calm. Resilience isn't about being bulletproof. It's about being elastic. It's the ability to stretch under pressure and snap back to your original shape without breaking.
As we wrap up today, I'm left thinking about how we define health. It's not just the absence of disease, it's the presence of adaptability. Maybe the next time we're staring at that ice bath, we shouldn't ask, "How long can I stay in?" but rather, "How well can I breathe through this?"
That's the ultimate metric. If you can stay calm in the ice, you can stay calm in a boardroom or a traffic jam. That is where the physical meets the psychological. We aren't just training our hearts and our veins, we're training our perspective on what we can handle.
It's a journey from the surface level of looking fit to the internal depth of being resilient. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the cellular level of hormesis to the philosophy of human adaptation. It's clear that the tools are only as good as the person using them, and the intelligence they use to interpret the results.
And that's the heart of it. Don't just track your life, understand it. Because at the end of the day, wearables don't actually improve your health. Your interpretation and the actions you take based on that data do. Stress is inevitable, but how we recover from it? That's where the mastery lies.